What's up, guys? Welcome to Superwise. I'm John, and I just got back from watching Marvel Studios' Eternals. And wow, what a freaking journey to this film. The critics' reviews were out, and they were so mixed. It was insane. It was the first time that an MCU movie was this divisive. It's the first time that we've had a Rotten Tomatoes MCU entry, and I know all film is subjective, but Rotten Tomatoes is regarded as the #1 critic website, and a lot of the Marvel Studios promotion for their upcoming movies and TV shows, they use Rotten Tomatoes as like a flex. So it was just groundbreaking to finally have a Rotten MCU movie. You know, it was inevitable. Marvel Studios was never going to have a perfect track record or an overall positive track record. There was always going to be that one movie that was just gonna not be as great as the others, according to the critics. In this case, it was Eternals. But the reviews did not lessen my hype at all. In fact, it increased my hype because I was just so damn curious on how I was gonna feel about it. And again, all film is subjective. If the critics didn't like this film, maybe I would like it or even love it, because these bastards gave Man of Steel a 50%. And I adore that movie. That movie is high 80s, in the 90s for me. I adore that movie. BVS is a freaking 20%. Give me a break. It ain't that bad. You know, these critics are all film subjective, right? And I was excited for this movie. You know, the first trailer didn't really do anything for me. It looked beautiful, visually stunning, but I wanted to see more of that cosmic stuff. And we got that in the final trailer, and I love the final trailer. It definitely got me excited. And, you know, is this the Marvel Studios equivalent to Man of Steel? What did I think about this movie? I finally saw it, and, well, I really liked it. I thought it was a really good movie, solid movie. Is it great? No. Is it in my top 5 favorite MCU movies of all time? No. Is it in the top 10? I think it barely cracks the top 10 because I really enjoyed this movie, but it has some obvious flaws that we have to talk about. But overall, I really enjoyed myself and I really liked it. I think the critics are wrong. 48% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's not that bad. I think that's ridiculous. This is why all film is subjective. Don't trust the critics. I look at the scores out of pure curiosity, but they do not influence and shape what I'm going to think. First off, we got to talk about Chloe Zhao's the director. She's a great director. You can see my Nomadland review. I really like that movie, and here she does a fantastic job. The shots are beautiful. The cinematography is great. It just looks amazing, and it's one of the best looking comic book movies to date. I think it looks just beautiful. When it comes to the CGI and visual effects, the majority of it is good. Like the Celestial looks amazing, but like Crow at the end of the movie, he looks a little janky. He looks a little weird. But you know, before that, I think the Deviants had a nice design that wasn't too spotty. I really enjoyed the action scenes. I thought the majority of the Turtles had very cool powers, and that created some really inventive action scenes, like in the forest and the end with Ikaris. It was all really cool. I found the humor and the comedy really funny. You know, Shang-Chi, I believed, had some forced humor with like the Morris the pig or whatever the hell that was. Here, I think the comedy works more, especially with Kingo. He's there primarily for, you know, comic relief, but I think it works. And, you know, that argument scene with him and Druig was really funny. Ikaris and Druig trading the Twinkies in the book, that was really funny. Just had a lot of genuinely comedic moments that I really liked. And while he's up here on the screen, Crow, kind of a useless villain. He was being marketed in the trailers as like the villain, but he's not. We know who the villain is. Ikaris, we'll get to him. But yeah, what a waste of Bill Skarsgård. I liked how Athena like slashed him in like fifths and he came apart. That was really cool, but he was kind of useless. You could take him out of the movie, honestly. Now let's quickly talk about some logic issues, because we have the Celestial creating these androids. He could create perfect super beings. He could create like all Ikarises. So why did he create a deaf superhero, and why did he create them to be different races? It makes no sense. In the movie canon, it's not explained. It makes no sense. You could create this perfect super being. Why would you have a setback by creating a deaf superhero? Like, wouldn't you want your superheroes to be peak physical and mental condition, just like perfect like Ikaris? I don't get it. It was nice to see the representation of the sign language, but it makes no sense. And the diversity, I like the majority of the actors in this movie, but the diversity didn't feel natural because it didn't make any sense. Why? If you could make the perfect super being, why would you create a 12-year-old girl? Wouldn't you want her to be all grown up and just like battle ready? Like, it makes no sense within the context of the movie. It's never explained. It makes no sense. But before we get into the characters, I enjoyed the story. It was a little bit slow-paced, but I found the mythology and the whole lore very interesting, learning about, the Eternals impacting history in the shadows and how, like, Sprite created the story of Ikaris flying too close to the sun, how they sort of influenced history. That was really interesting to me. And I like the character dynamics. I think they're really funny together, but we're supposed to believe that they're a family. I don't believe it. Like, I believe Thena and Gilgamesh, I believe Mercari and Drug, but I don't believe, let's say, Xerxes and Ikaris. Like, we're supposed to believe in that relationship. I unfortunately didn't, because we see them in very quick flashbacks. We're told that we're supposed to believe in this relationship. They say, I love you to each other. They have that sex scene, the very first MCU sex scene, which, was very interesting to see in an MCU family-friendly brand. And then they get married or whatever. Like, it just went too fast, and these characters didn't have time to breathe. Dane Whitman and Xerxes, I believe that more. And, I feel like I like the characters, the majority of them, but for some of them, I feel like we got just, like, surface-level exploration, and we could have gotten more in-depth. And that's the issue with this movie. There's just a lot of characters. So let's get into the characters now. First off, we have Xerxes. And I thought she was fine. I thought Gemma Chan really did well at the very end of the movie, where it got, like, really emotional with her and Ikaris. Nothing special, though. I thought her power set was cool. Her manipulating things, that was cool, but I don't know. I wasn't crazy about the character. Then we have Ikaris. Ikaris was the best character in this movie, in my opinion. I was so hyped to see Marvel's Superman in this movie, and it did not disappoint. Richard Madden is such a good actor, and he did so good in the role, and I loved how he was emotionally compromised. He did not want to kill Ajax. You could see that. He was confused and had this inner conflict to either serve the Celestials or to help out his friends. And by the end of it all, he couldn't live with himself. So he committed suicide. He killed himself. He flew right into the sun. Now, is he really dead? I don't know how he can breathe in space and not die from that and die from the sun. I don't know, but I just thought it was all compelling. He was just conflicted. That's what makes him such a great hero villain. Phastos, played by Brian Tyree Henry, I think he was one of the strongest characters in this film because he had a family that added vulnerability and intensity to his character and to the story. And the sequence where he created the bomb that bombed Hiroshima, that shaped his stance on humanity and stuff like that. That was interesting stuff. So yeah, he was really good in the film. And his powers were dope with the machinery and all that, especially in the final battle. Dope. Thena, played by Angelina Jolie. She was actually really strong in the film emotionally. She had a nice relationship with Gilgamesh, and her mind was just breaking. She just didn't want to lose her memory, and she got really emotional. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. I feel like maybe her illness could have been more explored in depth, but for what we got, it was fine. It was good stuff. I liked Gilgamesh. I liked how he took care of Thena for years. That relationship was nice. And when he died, I was like, oh, I kind of cared. And he was quite funny when he made that Batman reference and stuff like that. He was funny to have around. And every action set piece with him was dope. Mercari, I thought she was fine. I thought she was cool. I love the speedster power. Visually, that looks great. and seeing the deaf representation was nice, even though it didn't really make any sense within the context of the film. But we don't really know anything about her. Like, she's pretty surface level. Sprite is good. It has a nice bubbly flavor. It's really good soda. It's really sweet and okay, I'll stop. I had to make the joke. Please, you understand I had to. Yes, Sprite. Doesn't really make sense why she's a 12-year-old girl within the context of the film, but I thought it was very compelling because she has not grown up for centuries and that she wants a normal life. She loves Ikaris. And she teams up with Ikaris in the end because she wants to be with him and she wants to be normal. And by the end of it all, she gets her wish. She's normal. She's a normal girl. It's compelling stuff. I thought her story was interesting. Kingo, played by Kumail Nanjiani. I really liked him in this movie. He was there for comedic relief and he was really funny. But by the end of the film, it's interesting because he actually agreed with Ikaris and the whole Celestial plan, but he didn't like violence. He didn't want to fight his friends. And so he just left. And I thought that was very interesting stuff. Jurg, I thought he was a very good character in the film because he didn't like the violence. He didn't like being there for centuries, just standing on the sidelines, not doing anything, just letting this happen. And he wanted to interfere. And that the whole concept of like the Eternals being there, but not being allowed to interfere and letting this violence happen, should they or should they not do that? It's very compelling and interesting. Ajak, I thought Salma Hayek was fine. She was the most mid character in the movie. When she died, that sequence when she's just trying to convince Ikaris, like, well, yo, you don't have to do this, and then she gets fed to the deviants, that was cool, but I thought Salma Hayek was mid. I thought she was just fine. And the costume design is great. I love the costumes. The music by Ramin Djawadi was great. He composed the very first MCU movie, Iron Man, and he comes back years later and delivers this very techno synth score. I really dug it. I really liked it. But bro, we gotta talk about those two post-credit scenes. So the first one revealed Star Fox, the brother of Thanos, played by Harry Styles, and that was interesting. Wasn't expecting to see the brother of Thanos, and I don't know why Nate Moore says that this movie is like a standalone thing. It doesn't require a sequel. Bruh, it requires a sequel. I mean, it very clearly sets up a sequel. And it should be very interesting if we do get a sequel to see Star Fox and his power set and what's going on with him. But then, the second post-credit scene. Dane Whitman, who I liked Kit Harington in the role. I hope to see him as Black Knight in the sequel. But he's about to pick up the ebony blade, and then a voice says, "You sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?" And guess who that is? It's Mahershala Ali Blade! Bruh! I lost my mind. I lost my freaking mind in the theater, bro. Of all the movies, freaking Mahershala Ali, shows up in this one. It's only the audio, though. It's only the audio. But it's just teasing of what's to come. Why is Blade there? He deals with vampires. Of course he has a sword, so does he know sword lore and stuff like that? But, bruh, I was not expecting it. You guys know that I'm super hyped for Blade, and I love the Wesley Snipes interpretation, and I'm so ready for Blade, bro. And it's exciting because we don't know, like Marvel, took off Blade indefinitely from the schedule, so we don't know when it's coming out. So getting this little tease was nice, and I'm hoping we see more Blade in the future soon. Bro, I'm so freaking hyped for Blade, you have no idea. But yeah, those are the post-credit scenes, and that was the movie. Full breakdown of the movie and what I thought about it. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's probably top 10 MCU for me. And, it has issues. It does. I don't think it lives up to the legacy films like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it, and, I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this movie in the comments down below, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What'd you think of that freaking second post-credit scene, man? What'd you think about it? It was awesome. I'm so hyped for that. Unbelievably excited for that. So let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and quick little update for you guys. I asked you yesterday in a poll, would you guys like Superwise merch? Would you seriously consider buying merch for the channel? And the majority of you, 70% plus with like 15 votes, said yes, you would seriously consider buying merch. Happy to announce that The merch is ready to go. I have the link. I'll drop it in the description down below and on my homepage next to the Discord link. You can buy the merch now. It's available. It's a little pricey, but like $25 for a shirt, for example. That's because I have to make a profit, because just because it's $25, Spring, the website, takes like more than half of that, you know. I'm just putting the merch out there just for fun, you know. None of you feel obligated like you have to pay for this, but the merch will be out there, and any payment that you give, I'll use towards bettering the channel, better equipment, stuff like that. So it's out there. You can check it out now. T-shirts, jackets, mugs, all that good stuff. It's out there. So check it out. That will be all for me. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That will be all for me. And remember my catchphrase, guys. Stay super wise.